Alright guys, welcome back and let's start creating our character. Alright, let's get to the role ball folder and then create a new folder and call it blueprints. Open the blueprint folder and then right click. Alright, for writing codes in Unreal Engine there are two types of writing codes. Alright, one of them is the standard way of writing codes with the C++ class, and the other way is the visual scripting way. Alright, the visual scripting way is the UE4 way for writing codes, and it's very helpful, and it's called blueprints. Alright, so we want to choose the blueprint class and then this will pop up. Alright, for a blueprint there are four types of main blueprints that exist on every level. Alright, so if you do not create them, Unreal Engine 4 will create a default one that does nothing. Alright, okay, the first one is the actor, second one is the pawn, third is the player controller, and the last one is the game mode base. Alright, these are the main ones, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are the main blueprint classes that the Unreal Engine will create by default. The others are important as well. Even if you look at here, there are a lot of type of blueprints, but we're not gonna talk about them. All right, okay, so let's see what are these actors, pawn and player control and game modes. All right, so the first one is the actor. All right, the actor is any object, all right, that you place it on the world and our character can interact with it. For example, a door that can open and close can be an actor, or a coin that can be collected by our character can be an actor, or anything that our actor or our character can interact with it can be of the actor base class. All right, okay, and the second one is the pawn. So what is the pawn? The pawn is an actor that can be possessed and receive input from a controller. So the pawn is the same as the actor, but the pawn is the character that we are controlling it. All right, it receives our input and does the things, does the calculations. All right, okay, the other one is the player controller. The player controller, as its name says, it controls the player. All right, so we created our pawn in here and then we control it with our player controller. How does that sound? We create the pawn and we control it right in here. All right, okay, and the other one is the game mode base. All right, you have played different games like Call of Duty, for example. In Call of Duty there are single player modes and multiplayer mode, zombie mode, and etc. Lots of game modes. This is the game mode. All right, the game mode tells what rules apply to the current level. All right, this game mode in Unreal Engine, it works like that. Every level has a game mode. All right, every level has a game mode. So if you enter that level, the game mode will show up or does its job. All right, it has some rules that place on the level. All right, so it says that this level is for for zombie mode, this level is for multiplayer mode, or this level, and etc. You got the point. All right, so because we want to create our character, or our ball, right? What is the ball? The ball is a pawn because we are controlling it. All right, okay, so we will choose the pawn class. Don't worry if you did not get that actor, pawn, and player controller and game mode thing. You'll get it as we walk through it and work on it later. Right, you'll get it later. So let's start with the pawn for creating our character. All right, and we created our character. Now we have to name it. All right, we can right click and rename, or alternatively click it and hit F2 to rename it. All right, and I'm gonna call it BP for blueprint and BP ball pawn. All right, BP ball pawn will be a good name. And open it. All right, the first time we open the BP ball pound, this will pop up. First of all, let me grab it and put it next to our map so I can switch between them easily. All right, so this looks pretty much the same as our world in here. There are some little difference, but it's not that much. All right. Okay, so what do we have here? We've got three different tabs. All right, we've got our viewport where we can, create the character, and we've got construction script and event graph for writing our codes. All right, this is the constructor, and this is the code that we will write in a bit later. All right. Okay, so first of all, let's start with our viewport and create our character. All right, let's add a component and type sphere because it's a ball. All right, and once we created that sphere, okay, because we want to roll it and apply physics on it, make sure that you check that simulate physics button. All right, and then go down here and make sure that this one under the collision, it is physics actor because we are applying physics on it to roll. All right, so let's compile and save it. All right, okay, and now we are going to the event graph. The event graph is where you write the codes for your game, and let's write our code. All right, so what do you want to do is, let me go in here and type input. All right, horizontal. This will get the horizontal axis that we created, and input vertical. All right, input horizontal and vertical. So what these do, if we we assign the D button and the A key, D key and A key with the horizontal axis and the vertical axis with W and S. So if we push these buttons, the event that fires after that, they will happen. All right, the events after this line, they will happen. All right, so what we want to do, all right, what we want to do is bring our sphere. All right, bring our sphere and add force to it. Add force. All right, so when we fire the input axis horizontal or input axis vertical, we want to add force. What do we want to add force to? We want to add force to our sphere. All right, okay, so what this says, it says that when we input the horizontal or any vertical button that we assign to the horizontal and the vertical, it will fire the add force, and the add force adds that force, okay, that much force to the sphere. All right, adds that force to the target. The target is the sphere, the ball that we created in here. All right, this is the ball. Okay, so how much force do you want to add to the ball? All right, let's see. So how do we calculate that force? Okay, remember we talked about the input axes. The horizontal one was for the D button. All right, let me show you. That will be much better. Let's get to the project settings and get to the inputs again. All right, so for the horizontal, if we push D, all right, number 1 comes. All right, this is greater than 0, and for the A, -1 comes out, and for the vertical as well, W fires 1, S fires -1. So these are fired through here. All right, so the axes are firing -1 and 1. All right, so for example, for the horizontal, if it is 1, then it is the right side, and for the vertical, it is the upside. All right, so what we want to do is create a vector out of this. So we will say, sorry, make vector. All right, we will make a vector out of these two, the inputs from the horizontal and the input from the vertical. But remember, we don't need the Z value, all right? Because if that was our ball, the Z value will be up and down. We don't need up and down. We only need forward, backward, and then right and left. We don't need up and down. We don't need the Z, all right? Okay, let me close this and get back to here. So after that, what we want to do, right, let me grab this a little bit further. And all right, after that, what we want to do is, if I apply the force right now, the force will be so small because these these values are -1 and 1. Adding -1 value will be so small, so I'm gonna multiply by a float, all right, and then put it onto the force, all right. And out of this one, how much force? So right now the force comes and we will multiply it by a number and it will add the force. So how much multiplier do we need? Well, actually we don't know right now. So what we want to do is right click it and promote to a variable and call it speed, right? Speed. Okay, we called it speed, right? Our variable is here and we call it speed. So hit compile and we can change the default value. If it did not hit compile, we couldn't change the default value. All right, the default value for speed, we want to write 300. Maybe 300 will be good. All right, and so right now when the axis comes, it fires -1 or 1, and then it will make times by 300 and it will add force to the ball. All right, so, and don't forget to click that axle change. All right, click that axle change and then hit compile and save. What this does, it makes sure that the force does not affect the mass and ignores the mass of the ball. Right? Okay, so alright, so we created our ball, but remember we said that every level has to have a game mode. Alright, so right now we did not create a game mode for it, but we want to make sure that we will create one. Alright, so